In software engineering, we are taking chapter number 8, Understanding Requirements. In any software project, in any software solution, to understand the requirements, to understand what user want, there are so many problems in software engineering, but this is the greatest problem every software engineer, software professional will face. Even if the customer is coming with very clear information, explicit with their needs, but the change will there. That is, the needs of the requirement will change as the project will progress. So this is also one of the important thing which a software professional has to see. We have to handle it. So whenever this requirement thing come, there are certain challenges. So what are the challenges as a software engineer we face? The first thing is, whenever we record the requirement, we write the requirement, whenever we sit with the user or the stakeholder, we take the notes on a copy or on a laptop. Many times it is not organized. We always use it or write it in a disorganized manner. And after that also, we do not verify whatever we have written, whatever we have recorded. The second thing is, because as the project will progress, there will be change. And we allow the change to control us rather than controlling the change. That is, we are not establishing a proper mechanism to control change, to manage change, to actually implement the change. So this is one of the challenges. So we have to have a mechanism to control change. Because of this reason, the basic software or project or a solution or a system, we are not able to provide a solid, concrete foundation for it. Coming to requirements engineering. What is requirements engineering? Because we are gathering the requirement, we are understanding the requirement, because this requirement we are going to implement. So the definition of requirement engineering is the broad spectrum of tasks and techniques to understand requirements. That is all the way, all the technique, all the methods you apply or you use to know the requirement, to understand the requirement is requirement engineering. So it starts with the communication activity. You know about the software development life cycle. It starts with communication, then we plan, then we model, then we construct, and finally we deploy. So this communication activity, this requirement engineering starts from communication activity and it goes up till modeling activity. Most of the time it goes throughout the project if the project is large. Now one very important thing is, requirements engineering builds a bridge to design and construction. Now you will say, while communicating we are gathering the requirement. How does it bridge the design and construction? These are the phases which comes real after. So how does this sentence is true? So let me tell you, whatever is the requirement, whatever is the need of the user, the design and the construction, design is the modeling part, construction is the actual implementation part. So these needs that this design and construction must address, because you are making the design and construction on the basis of needs only. That is how this is bridged. The second thing is, the priorities that guide the order in which the work is to be completed. That is, what part, what design you have to make first, what construction you have to do, which functionality you have to do or you have to implement first. So the priority is also for the design and construction is provided by the needs. Then, how does this is a bridge? The information, function and the behavior. This is going to have a very great or a profound impact on the resultant design. Nowadays, the market is so vast. The technology is developing so fast. The stakeholders have become intelligent. That is why we have diverse requirement. People come to us with different requirement. They have a variety of requirement because the market is having a variety. Okay. So because of this said different kind of requirement or multiple kind of requirement, this is also one of the challenge. So if the product development cycle shorten, for example, sometimes earlier times 5-year 3-year projects were there, but now the project are 6 months, 1 year, maybe not more than 2 years. Okay, so the development cycle has shortened. So we need to have a certain requirement engineering, or you can say a streamlined, organized, plan kind of requirement engineering, so that we can make the product, we can make the software, and we can just put it in the market as quickly as possible. So the requirement engineering, it has different tasks. We can say that it has 7 distinct or different tasks. So whenever you are doing requirement engineering, the first set is inception, elicitation, elaboration, negotiation, specification, validation, and management. We'll discuss one by one these distinct tasks. In the requirement engineering, inception, there are 7 different tasks in requirement engineering. The first one is inception. Inception, a beautiful movie has come. Inception means initiation, start, when the things are conceptualized. So how does a software project get started? How does the inception take place? Sometimes a very normal conversation between 2 people on a cup of coffee, it can start, it can generate, it can precipitate a major software engineering work, effort, or so project. Sometimes 2 people are just talking. Whether we have to do this, for this we need some software solution. So even a casual conversation can lead to a big software project. Right? This can happen. But this is somewhat true. Most of the time, most of the project, whenever they start or whenever we do certain project, first the business need is identified. What is the potential market? There is business community, the stakeholders from there, business manager, marketing people, product manager. They will properly define a business case. So they will create, this is the way how they create it. So these are the steps actually. So they create a business case, knowing all the market situation, environment, etc. And then they will try to check what is the breadth and depth of the market. That is, where is our potential customer? Then they do a rough feasibility analysis, whether this is possible, whether there is any benefit of doing this. And then they will try to make a working description of the project scope. What will be the project? What it will do? What do we want from this project? So whole scope they identify. For most of the big projects starts like this. So when the project starts, that is the software or a project inception, everything starts with the basic understanding what is actually the problem, what software solution has to be made. Okay. Previously, Ola, Uber, Swiggy is one of the food this app. So earlier Ola, Swiggy was not there. But people like these, they thought that this is required. There are people who need this. There is a wide, huge market. So first we have to understand that we are solving what? People who want this solution. That is people who travel or who are single. They would like to have Swiggy. They would like to have Ola and Uber. So you are providing them a solution that will change their life or ease their life. Okay. So the stakeholders, I'm talking about both the parties, right? So here I'm talking about stakeholder and software team. They need to have a very preliminary communication and collaboration. They need to work together to find out this requirement. The second step or task in requirement engineering is elicitation. Elicitation is taking out, means if something is there in the mind of user, how to elicitate it, how to gather more and more information. So this is elicitation. That is, if somebody asks, a policeman asks some burglar who was with you, why did you do this? So this is kind of elicitation. So important part of this elicitation is finding out or establishing the business goals. So you have to engage the party, that is the stakeholder, and encourage them or tell them to please share their goal very honestly, very clearly, and in a free flow manner. Then we do a priority. That is a priority mechanism. Okay? Tell us which is more important, which is less important. Then you will be able to create a architecture of the project software. So Crystal and Kang, because this elicitation comes with problem. So Crystal and Kang, they identify various key problem in this elicitation. First is the problems of scope. What is the problem of scope? When the user comes to you or the stakeholder come to you, the system, they don't know. They don't know the boundary. They don't know the scope. They don't know the goal. Okay? And they may sometimes tell you some unnecessary technical detail that rather than making you understand, they will confuse you. And you are confused by the objective. The second thing comes is problems of understanding. Sometimes customer is not sure what he actually wants. He doesn't know the problem domain. For example, if some networking solution has to be made, he is not a networking guy. He doesn't know. And wherever this solution is to be used, what is the capabilities, what is the limitation of that environment, for example, networking environment, he is not aware of that. So, because he is not from that background or he is not very clear, he is unclear, he is not able to tell you the capabilities and limitations also. And he may not be able to speak well, communicate well. Sometimes most of the user, they just omit obvious information. That is, oh, these are the implicit observations or things you have to do. I will not tell you. Sometimes two users are coming with you, two people are coming. Same company. One is saying something different, the other is saying something different. So it's a kind of conflicting requirement. Sometimes the requirement is so vague, so ambiguous, they can't even be tested. So the requirement has to be crystal clear to you. It needs to be tested because that will actually make a function or the feature of the software. One more problem which Crystal highlighted is problems of volatility. Requirements will change because one day he came, means the stakeholder came. The next day he'll call, oh, no, this thing I said wrong. This is the actual thing. Maybe 1 month you will get a mail, oh, these requirements we don't want, we want this. So the requirements are volatile. They change over time. So these are the 8 challenges of the requirements elicitation which we generally face. The next thing which comes in requirements engineering is elaboration. Now you have got a chewing gum, now you have to stretch it. A rubber band, you have to stretch it. So elaboration is all about stretching, making more out of it. So information obtained at the previous 2 tasks, inception and elicitation, is stretched here, expanded here, and cleaned, that is refined here. That is, you have to think, you have to understand what is wanted and what is not wanted. So this is the elaboration is what is driving force. Is all about how the end user, or you can say the actors, they are going to interact with the system. Someone will interact differently. Someone will have different point of view. So you have to refine these information and see. For this, how do we go about? I gave you an example of a food delivery, Swiggy say, or an Ola. So there will be some in food deliveries, there will be delivery boy, there will be some hotelier who will get the order, and there will be some customer. So every user scenario you have to see. So the customer or the delivery boy or the hotelier or the restaurant person, each user scenario has to be parsed because we need to take out the analysis classes. Because if we are talking about the object-oriented paradigm, we need to know what are the main classes we have to think about. And when the classes comes, in classes we have functions and the variables. So we have to also think about what are the attributes, these are the characteristics and the services. These classes are going to be defined and they are going to work. Then between these classes, what will be the relationship? How these classes are going to work to become one as a software. So we have to identify this. So this is a kind of elaboration you would like to have to actually go to that point where you can design and you can implement. The next important requirement engineering aspect is negotiation. Negotiation is all about talking, discussing so that there is a conclusion between two parties. So customer always will ask you more because he is giving you money, and he will propose sometimes very conflicting kind of needs and requirement. So he will ask for more. He'll say, do this, do that, I want this, I want that. So when it comes to money, he may say something, no, he will step back, maybe. But he'll also say some conflicting requirements. Two people may be saying the same thing with different perspective. So you need to reconcile these conflicts, these say different arguments or thoughts or requirements through a proper process of talk, discussion, negotiation. So customer, you can say the stakeholders or customer, you will say them, please rank your requirement and assess the priority. This is your one requirement, this is the priority 2, this is priority 3. So you can say that. And then you will use an iterative approach, that is ongoing circular approach to prioritize this requirement. Priority may change. And as I said, user will also talk about, because he is going to give you money and you have to also find out the risk. He may tell you some design constraints, some performance constraint, etc. So you have to address these internal conflicts through a proper process of good negotiation, a calm negotiation. And at this time, because they have already prioritized it and you have used the iterative approach, because of the iterative approach, you can eliminate, you can remove, you can combine, and you can also modify the requirement so that the software team and the stakeholders as two party, they both are satisfied, they both are happy. The next task or requirement engineering is specification. Specification is mostly we talk about a written document where both party agrees. So the specification, it can be a written document. We have a proper SRS IEEE number. Then we have the graphical model we can have. We can make a pie chart, graph chart like this. Or a formal mathematical model. We have already talked about the formal model. Then you can have use case scenarios or usage scenario. Or even you can make a very low fidelity prototype. Or all these combination also can be there. So specification is not only the document, it can be one of these, or it can be multiple permutation combination of all these. Most of the people, they suggest we have to make a standard template. As I said, we already have a IEEE standard for this. Okay. So there has to be some standard template. If some company is making their own template, it is good. And then we have to use this so that everyone sees this and this is consistent and people can understand it also, both the parties. Sometimes we need to be flexible with these requirements, the specification. What I'm trying to suggest here is, if the system or the software is large, For example, if you get a project of 20 crores or 100 crores, you have to write a document. You have to combine these natural language descriptions also. That is, the user can understand, you can also understand. And you can add it with the graphical models also. But for a smaller product, and when the needs are very clear, the environment is clear, for example, 2 lakh project or 5 lakh project, the usage scenario is enough. Okay. So for a small project, SRS will do, also even the usage scenarios will do. For large one, you need a combination of all these. So this is the SRS template. And as I said, we already have the IEEE standard for it. So this SRS has all the content that you have to make whenever you are making a software requirement specification. So it has all the information. There are certain system features. The third point is very important. Third section. So you can make it by yourself. Table of contents, revision history, then the introduction. For this, you'll write the purpose of the software, the document conventions, what are the intended audience, what are the reading suggestions, if somebody wants to read more, what is the project or software scope, what are the references. Then you have the second section, which is called the overall description. What is product perspective, what are product feature, user classes and characteristics, what environment it is going to work on, the operating environment. For example, it is going to work on Windows 10 or Linux. Design and implementation constraint, what are the limitations, the user documentation, what are the assumptions and dependencies, say on some other system. These are the actual thing. These are the system feature 1, system feature 2. Sometimes people also write it as use case. So they also add the figures. Sometimes they also tend to add the diagrams, UML diagrams. Then external interface requirement, what are the user interfaces, hardware interfaces, software interfaces, the communication interfaces, whichever is applicable. You can write it here like this. And the NFRs, like the non-functional requirement, those which are not in the functionality but you need it, performance requirements, safety requirements, security requirements, software quality attributes, like the usability, maintainability, like this. Then there are other requirements also you can add here, and there can be some appendix if you want to add glossary, analysis models if you have made some, and the issues list. So this is the SRS template. If you ever write this, you can follow this. This is the SRS template. The next step of requirement engineering is validation. Validation is check whatever you have made, whether it is correct or not. So the work product which are coming out, work product can be a written document, it can be software, it can be prototype, it can be, there's multiple type of work products are there. So whenever you are doing requirement engineering, on the basis of requirement engineering, whatever products are coming, you need to check for the quality. What is the quality? So the validation is checking, verification. We'll talk about verification, validation. There is a difference. But here you have to ensure that all the requirements are clearly stated. That is 1 to 50, for example, 50 requirements are there. They are unambiguous. That is, there are no multiple meanings. If 2 people are reading it, one conclusion should be drawn. Inconsistency, that is, somewhere it is written something, somewhere it is written something. Omission, don't leave anything. Errors, don't write it the way it is errorful. All these has to be detected and they have to be corrected. That is the validation of your requirements. And if you are conforming to certain standard, for example, MISRA standard you are following or some in-house standard, you have to conform to that standard. The primary requirement validation, how do we do it? The best way is to do the technical review. So people sit, like the team can consist of software engineer, and they can just see. The customer can also be one of the person or group. So they all look for the errors, some misinterpretations, some clarification if may be required, some missing information if there is some inconsistency, some requirement are conflicting. For example, 22 and 23 requirement are same. Some requirements are unachievable, like picking a star from the cloud. unachievable. So I'll give you the requirements. Now you have to tell me whether these are correct, incorrect, ambiguous, whatever. So the software should be user friendly. The second requirement is the probability of successful authorized database intrusion should be less than 0.0001. That is, nobody can intrude or get hold of a database. The intrusion should be this number. Now, let me tell you, these both requirements are not good. Why? The first requirement is too vague. How can you validate it? It needs to be quantified. For you, it may be user-friendly. For me, it won't. So it's subjective. The second requirement you see here has a very concrete quantitative element, because this it's too less. How you can do it? It is very difficult. It is time consuming. Now, as a software engineer or requirement engineer, what you have to do? What you have to do is, can this second requirement I'm talking about, can there be some other way out? Can it be associated with certain security, like certain password protection, some keys, some specialized handshaking? So can we change this requirement like this? Okay. See, these requirements for different projects are different. For example, if the quality is required, if the quality requirement is too high, then we need to state the requirement in quantifiable terms, numbers. If the quality requirement is too much, but if the software you are going to make, the quality requirement are okay, then you can just check it, validate it using the user survey or even the checklist. So this is how you validate the requirement. So this is the requirement validation checklist. So you can ask certain question. Our requirements are clear. Can they be misinterpreted? That is, it has to be unambiguous, right? Like there are sentences which have multiple meanings. Is the source, that is a person, regulation, document of the requirement identified from where it has come? Can we find out the original source? Can it be examined? Is the requirement, you have numbers, quantitative terms? What other requirements relate to this requirement? You can have a cross-reference matrix. Does the requirement violate any domain constraint? Because there is a constraint. You cannot go ahead of that. Can this requirement be tested? Is it testable? Can this requirement be traceable to any model that already been created? Is the requirement traceable to the overall system? What is the project objective? Can it be traceable? Is the specification structured in a way that leads to easy understanding? That is, the understanding part is here. Easy translation of the content into work product. Has an index for the specification already created so that people can easily go through it. Have requirement associated with the performance, behavior and other characteristics are clearly stated. What requirements appear to be implicit, what appear to be explicit. These are requirements validation checklist. So we have to answer these so that the requirement is okay. Now the final thing comes is the requirements management. Now you have taken the requirement, but we need to manage it also. How to manage it? So requirement management are all the activities which the project team, software team does to identify, to control, and then to track the requirements. Because the requirement will come, they may change, because as the project will process, things will change. So we have to develop a mechanism so that this requirement management can be done. This is also a very important part. So these are all the points which I have given. Establishing the groundwork, identifying stakeholders. This we are going to see in the next discussion. Till then, thank you so much. Take care of yourself.